Hey there everybody, I've been playing a whole lot of classic hardcore WoW, as many of you who follow me will know. This game mode is, in my opinion at least, the way the game should be experienced and enjoyed. I love this mode of gameplay for WoW so much that it's become the only way that I want to play it going forward. Now, I wanted to take this opportunity to go over the system, some basic tips and resources that I would recommend to give you a leg up if you decide to embark on this adventure, which if you do, I believe it'll probably change the way you play the game as well. So the first thing I wanted to talk about would be, what is Classic Hardcore? Well, essentially, Classic Hardcore is a game mode where you only have one life. If you die, you must either delete your character or leave it as a permanent ghost. There are also some other handicaps that are placed on the hardcore adventure, such as use of the auction house, mailing, and trading between other players is strictly forbidden. You can also not group for any reason in the open world, with the exception of running a dungeon, which in that case, you must be at the meeting stone of said dungeon and group there. Now, there's definitely an aspect of role-playing that goes into hardcore, so, you know, with the whole one life aspect. That being said, you may only run each dungeon one time. After all, how can you kill Van Cleef multiple times? If he's dead, he's dead. Just like you. The dungeons may also only be run within the leveling parameters of the meeting stone and only with other hardcore adventurers. The goal is to reach level 60 without dying for any reason, which is when you become a full-fledged adventurer and able to resurrect upon death. Now, these are just the basics, so for a full look at the updated rules for Classic Hardcore plus the new official Hardcore Duo rules, I recommend joining the official Classic Hardcore community Discord for that and so much more. The link to that will be in the description below. So now let's get into creating a character. So when you decide to do that, you might ask, what server should I be on? Well, the official Classic Hardcore server for NA is Bloodsail Buccaneers for Horde and for Alliance, and Hydraxian Waterlords for the EU. At the time that I'm making this video, I'm unsure if there's even one for the Oceanic region. However, there is a channel in the Discord, so if if you're interested, you definitely welcome to check there, okay? Now that you've created a character on one of the hardcore servers, all that's left for you to do is join one of the guilds in the community. Again, Discord is your friend, so come on and join us, okay? You can also just do a /who/HC when you get online, and chances are that anyone that pops up will be in the guild. Hardcore players normally will put HC at the beginning or end of their names to denote to other players on the server of their hardcore status. Many times people will try to open trade to give you money, bags, items, or party invites, and when you decline and say that you're doing hardcore, they almost always know exactly what you mean. You know, like a couple guys in Loch Modan a couple weeks ago were following me around because I was soloing Chok Sul and the Mercenaries Elite quests in Loch Modan and trying to get that ring. And they were curious if I was going to survive, and they didn't try to assist. You know, one of them did buff me, but they just patiently followed me around and cheered me on while I healed myself, bubbled, and lay on hands myself to a very narrow victory, you know? So I ended up getting the ring. It was great, but, you know, I did end up dying the next day to a group of feral orcs in Red Ridge, but that experience was fun just the same. Getting back to another reason for this video, I wanted to show you all an amazing resource at your disposal for Classic Hardcore and honestly Classic WoW in general. This resource is classicwow.live. This website is extremely helpful with its intuitive gear planner and leveling guide, as well as many other features including its forums. Let me show you through just how the leveling guide and gear planner works, okay? Right here we have our, the home page. When you go on the website, you can see right here it says, try our interactive leveling guide. Just click start leveling, okay? So you choose your faction. We'll go with the Alliance. Choose your group size. We're doing solo. Okay, or you may be doing according to the new duo rules. In that case, you can click duo. Okay, we're gonna go single for the purposes of the video. Scroll down, choose your race. We'll go dwarf. Choose your class. How about a paladin? All right. Step 2, choose your level. Let's say we're level 13. Boom. Okay, and then just click start leveling. All right, and then it's going to pop up exactly where they recommend for you to be and what you should be doing. Now, there's certain things that you may see. Okay, Dark Shore, you may not necessarily feel comfortable going through the wetlands at level 13, which is totally understandable. In that situation, you can just go like previous steps. You can just, you know, go previous steps and find where they're in Loch Modan, and then you can follow along there. Okay, now let me show you guys the gear planner, which honestly I think it's super important. I use this for all of my hardcore characters. I have this open on another window at all times. Now I play a lot of paladins, so we'll say human, paladin, protection is how I spec, and right now I think my hardcore paladin is what, 22? So we'll say no, I think it's 23. Okay, we'll say 23. Okay, so if I want to know what I should be wearing, I can just click, you know, main hand. All right, now when you do that and you scroll down, here is going to be a list starting with the best in slot item for you, and you know, you can scroll down. I think the item that I'm using right now is, wow, it's down. Wow, it's way further than this. Oh, it's way further. Wow, the item that I am using right now, guys, is legit. I can't find it, but it's really bad. Right here, Engineer's Hammer. This is what I'm doing, and I got it from a quest. Okay, I'm using this because it's fast. All right, this is my weapon. Okay, best in slot is all the way up here. So if I wanted to upgrade, which would be smart to do, the easiest way to do that is to look at how these items are attained, and you can click around at the quest. Actually, if you look at this Hardwood Cudgel. This is from the Mephistra Relics in Darkshore. My character is actually camped right now in Darkshore, so the next time I log in, I'm going to be doing this quest right here to get this weapon, okay? Which is going to upgrade me quite a bit from what I'm wearing, okay? Still not what I could possibly be using, but that might get taken care of tonight when we run Dead Mines. So it'll save it right here. You can give your setup a name, and you can even, you know, download it and show it off to other people. It's really, really cool. Now they got their atlas, their forums. I showed you the leveling guide, which is right there. And then you can actually click hardcore, which is cool. Another thing about hardcore is we do have a community cup, you know, every certain amount of months, and the last one was on April 25th, and the next community cup is going to be a duo, and that's coming up in the near future. Okay, the next thing I wanted to talk to you about is profession. Min-maxing is extremely important when it comes to leveling hardcore. You need to keep in mind that for the most part, since you do not have the ability to trade, use the auction house, or infinitely run dungeons for prime loot, your power is going to be severely diminished in comparison to someone who's leveling naturally in the game all willy-nilly. Now that being said, it's vitally important that you take the opportunity to get that, you know, one extra point in any given stat. Cooking, for instance, is one area where you can see the biggest benefit for that effort that you put in to get it. I cannot tell you how many times I've survived with less than 20 hit points on a hardcore character with my food buff active. Now, if that food buff was not there, I would have been dead, which may not be that big of a deal if my character was like 15 or so. However, imagine if I was at level 53, which I wasn't, but let's just say I was, okay, and I was slacking on my buffs and died because of it. You know, there goes my challenge. Now in hardcore, you do have the ability to share items with other of your own hardcore characters, which means you can make a blacksmith and give rods to your enchanter, or loot an amazing drop like the Staff of Jordan and hand it down to a mage or any other caster of yours. However, many of us still enjoy playing without, you know, any trading of any kind, even to ourselves. For those situations, I specifically would recommend alchemy or engineering. Engineering, while being useful to all classes in the form of survivability, really happens to shine the most, in my opinion at least, when it comes to the hardcore warrior. As warriors are arguably the hardest hardcore class, you know, to get to 60 because of their vulnerability and lack of survivability compared to other classes like Paladin with their heals and bubbles, Rogue with evasion, vanish, and sprint, and pretty much every other class in the game. Engineering will offer the warrior some very much needed stun grenades, boots for a quick getaway, trinkets, low-level headgear, target dummies you can drop at your feet to taunt enemies around you, and many other things. For all other classes wanting to play without any, trading of any kind, I highly recommend alchemy. I hear people say all the time, well, I can buy pots from vendors, and while that is true, you can't buy the 5 elixirs that I always have active at all times on my hardcore alchemist in any shop. You can't buy nature protection potions that will absorb upwards of 2,000 nature damage, which is insanely helpful in areas later in the game. If you view alchemy as just healing and magic pots, then I would definitely say you are misusing your profession. I was playing Undead Rogue some time ago and I decided to attempt a solo counterattack in the Barrens, which is a really hard elite quest if you remember it. I had my food buff, strength pot, and defense pot active at the time. I ended up killing Warlord Chromzar and surviving with only 6 hit points. If any single one of those items was missing from my buff list, I would have died. Now it turns out that just 2 days later, I died to an angry pack of kobolds in Stone Talon who were convinced I was trying to steal their candles, but I will never forget that 6 hit points from the 2 days prior. That was legendary. You can apply the same logic when it comes to talent builds, which happens to be the next thing I want to talk about. While I'm going to save specifics for different videos, I will just say that it's super important to choose your talents wisely. The PvE meta is unfortunately not logical when it comes to hardcore. Rather, I would recommend making sure that whichever talents you choose to take, you have the best survivability talents as your first choice. For instance, when it comes to Paladin, I highly recommend, regardless of spec, that you immediately move to get spiritual focus under the Holy Tree, and improve to lay on hands as well on the same tree. Maxed out healing light is also very important if you can spare the points, but the others I recommend as essential to any hardcore character. On Rogue, improved gouge should be everyone's first talent capped, because it allows you to completely bandage from a single gouge proc. The other 2, which are extremely important, are also from the same combat rogue tree, and those would be improved sprint and endurance. Improved sprint just happens to come online right at the time that you're fighting ogres that net you in Red Ridge Mountains, which I died to on my Paladin, or spiders who do the same in Stone Talon Mountain. Okay, and that would be on the horde side. It's always great to be able to put up big numbers. However, you're going to get double and triple jumped in this game, which is going to happen all the time. Big damage in that respect is not going to save you, but survivability may allow you to escape and regroup and re-engage for victory. Last thing I wanted to go over are just some basic tips that you may take for granted when you're fresh into the classic hardcore experience. First one is, be extremely cautious when you're in caves or narrow tight spaces. Make sure that you have an escape plan at all times, even in open areas, and that it's clear. Nothing is worse than needing to run from enemies and realizing that groups have repopped behind you. A good rule of thumb in caves is to just kill enemies as far as you can see the exit, then double back and wait for repops. If your quest required you to delve further, then just make sure that your level reflects a challenge. We all know that spelunking is fun, but let's try to be safe down there. And keep your head on a swivel. I cannot say that enough. It's really easy to get tunnel vision when you are fighting enemy after enemy after enemy, and all of a sudden you have 2 or 3 guys behind you smacking you and you're not even noticing. Always look around you at all times. Now this actually segues into the next tips, which would be know your class and its capabilities, and know your enemy. And again, keep your head on a swivel. It's important to know if the enemy you're fighting will stun you, disarm you, knock you down, net you, run away, fear you, or even if it has an execute ability, which is rare, but there are many enemies in the game that do execute. This is also, you know, goes hand in hand with knowing your class and its capabilities. Hamstringing a runner, stunning a caster, screaming bloody murder when you see an elite. These are all top professional tactics, okay? Good rule of thumb is don't pick a fight you're probably not gonna win. Pretty basic, but very necessary to say. The next tip is knowing where to get great vendor loot. There are all kinds of vendors found throughout Azeroth. You can find good weapons, armor, potions, recipes, and more just by knowing where to look. A great resource for this is your guild. If you pay attention in guild chat, your guildmates will let you know when they come across a vendor with some really juicy stuff. And where that vendor is, hopefully you can get there fast and pick it up. You can also use a gear planner to know ahead of time, map out your gear progression so you will know just how much you need to farm level to level to keep your character strong. Now keep in mind, no matter what gear or buffs you have, they will not save you from stupid. As much as we like to think we are immune to bad decision for some reason, us hardcore players always want to try and push the envelope and see what we can get away with. Like, is it really possible to get to 60 complete stark naked with no weapons or anything? Who knows? Maybe somebody someday will give it a try if they're silly enough. At the end of the day, the more you die, the more you're gonna learn. So keep dying, keep playing, and keep pushing the envelope and keep it classic hardcore, okay? I wanted to give a special shout out to Cargos for creating the classic hardcore community, and also to Crix for all of his help with the classic hardcore guild on the Alliance side. I will have a link to both of their Twitch channels in the description below. Again, as well as the classicwow.live and hardcore Discord as well, okay? I hope you all enjoyed this video and that it assists you in getting started with classic hardcore. If you did, please don't hesitate to like, comment, and subscribe down below. And I hope that you will all come and see me live on Twitch. I go live every day, twitch.tv/HiroVision, and the link again will be in the description below. Have a great day and take care. See you soon.